Alrighty. Just waiting for us to appear. And here we are. Welcome, everybody, to Worldbuilders After Dark. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We have Half Monster Games with us. Woo! That's exciting. We also have Aaron. And you guys got to see us play a playthrough of one of their games, Xenohunters, today. And now we get to chat with the actual developers and the people behind Half Monster Games. Welcome, everyone. Let me give
Yeah.
y'all a chance to introduce yourselves. Aaron, why don't you go first so then we can end on a high note here? Just joking.
I am the reason people. I am not the reason people are here. I'm the community manager for Eladin, Aaron Turbo Hoodie Amendola, and gosh, got a chance to play Xenohunters earlier today on the World Builders Weekly stream. Delightful time, but I am not the reason y'all are here. So I'm gonna quick pass this over to our friends Jack and Callan so they can introduce themselves.
We'll catch it from over here.
I don't know where the video is, so like, is it
top
there?
left. Top left. We'll high five. Ready? Beautiful. There we go.
There we go. Perfect.
My name is Jack, and I'm creative director for Half Monster Games. I was our lead designer and project manager for Xenohunters.
Tell them about some of your history designing games.
Oh, sure. So I've been developing games for about 5 years or so, and 3 as like an official company here at Half Monster. And yeah, I sort of got started because I wanted to write stories and fiction, but I wasn't very good at it. And my wife is an English teacher and was like, Jack, this is not very good. I'm sorry. Why don't you make the game now? And that turned out to be the right decision. So there's a tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of the other half of Half Monster Games. I run the operations and business management. Jack brought me into running a board game company with him about 5 years ago. We've been mates since high school, and he was like, hey, do you want to run a board game company? And I said, no, absolutely not. But he's very persuasive. So here we are.
He's the charm for evil.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. So the name Half Monster Games, but there's 2 of you. So if you're half of Half Monster Games, are you both a fourth of the company?
Sort of. I think that at one point we threw around like quarter monsters. But I think sort of the idea is that we're all like everybody is like half monster and half sort of human.
Or android.
Or
so it's all about sort of like, giving people a space to explore that side of themselves and do, stuff you wouldn't normally do.
Like being aliens and, doctors from the 1800s and stuff.
So this might seem like an obvious question, but why did you want to start a board game company? Were you that involved in board games, or?
I think for me personally, it was sort of like about creative expression, I guess. Like I've spent, I'm 30 now, and so I spent years and years just doing stuff that wasn't necessarily super fulfilling. But I always liked being creative and working with systems and especially like having fun with people and like working out how to promote that and people getting together and stuff. Community building, I guess. So board games just happened to be the like perfect like intersection of all of those passions for me, I think.
Yeah, I think like something that Jack and I, we've, like I said, we've known each other since high school. We went through university together as well. And like, we're both really keen on building things. And so I really just wanted to like, once I got into the company, I wanted to like make it good and it's fun to work in a board game company. And so I think like in terms of career options, like going, all right, well, if we're going to run a company and it's going to be something, it's going to be fun and making it happen, I think is the most important part of it.
It's very satisfying. It feels very like risky and not the most stable thing all the time to be running this a company, but because we do self-publishing and distributing and talking to retailers and distributors and things like that.
Easy
sort
stuff.
Of the full spectrum, but it is very satisfying because like each thing that we do is sort of like adding like a block to it, like a pyramid kind of thing. It all sort of gets more satisfying, and we're often we look back and we go, oh my god, like this thing that we used to find super difficult, we now like have built the systems up to
Yeah.
do it, and then we're like, yay, it's
Yeah,
not
one thing
quite
that's-
as crushingly hard.
One thing that's really satisfying is seeing like over time each new project that we do, the process and the pipeline becomes really cool and really refined. And so like Superhero, which is the last game that we launched, we'd like had all of the artwork done before the Kickstarter launched, which is something we'd never had before. You know,
It was far less of a shambles.
yeah, and so like you know, the whole thing, because the idea is not just to make a game and release it into the world and like hope that it does well. It's like care for it afterwards, you know. And everything that all the effort that you put in beforehand means that caring for it afterwards, it's like taking care of a plant, you know. If you plant it in the right soil, it's going to be so much easier to keep it growing than if you sort of chuck it on the ground and hope it gets there.
Sounds like your business is a plan.
Yeah, so I don't know, like
self-help.
yeah, that's sort of how we
So
got into
short
it.
answer, I think, so just passionate about it and like building communities and that kind of thing. And it's like really cool seeing you guys sort of playing Xenohunters and stuff on the stream, because that's the ultimate sort of reward for all this for us, I think, is
Validation
that
we've done the right thing with our lives.
Slightly different, huh?
It's that easy. Just make a game, watch somebody play it. There's the validation. End game. Perfect.
I mean,
one of the things that you know that you two are talking about a lot is passion, right? Having the passion to do this and wanting to do this sort of thing. One of the things that I think is most evident in Xenohunters when I played earlier is there's a clear love for, I think, the source material that inspired it. There's you know, a lot of Alien, there's a lot of Among Us. I don't know if you two have played Spectre Ops, but a lot of the hidden movement reminds me a lot of Spectre Ops, and it's like this soup of things I love that I can tell is crafted in such a way that you know, you put them all together and it feels new. So I really have to know. I feel like I can see what inspired this, but Xenohunters being the type of game it is, where did you draw your inspiration from?
Yeah, I think it was sort of all of those kind of sources, but Xenohunters started as initially it was like the system of doing like I guess the original source was like the challenge of like, can you make a game that is double hidden movement, like when no one knows where anyone else is at any time, and have that be like fun and sort of exhilarating, if that makes sense. So and that evolved into and yeah, sort of looking at sources of media that do that. Movies like Alien and games like Among Us and stuff come up very quickly because it's, you know, everyone's sneaking around and doing that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's sort of a blend of yeah, just what we were sort of like watching in terms of movies and things at the time. And
I think a lot of your games, a lot of the games that you make, because Jack makes like, I don't know, like a game a week. That comes up with like a concept and only sort of only like 4 of them a year make it through the actual
it's a
process,
bit of like ludological Darwinism.
But
like,
often they come about from like you want to challenge something or like try a new technique, because I know the Trust Me series is like, can we make a game that you can play with your friends that like it's like, can we make a game where you can defend your silly idea, you know, and Xenohunters is like, can you make a game where it's like double hidden movement, and then you had another one that you made which was like, literally, can I make a game that's this big, you know?
The answer's yes.
As well. But like I find it really interesting when people are playing Xenohunters, the different influences. Like someone mentioned Battlestar Galactica in the chat, and like, I hadn't even thought about that, but like totally. Aliens is obviously I love Aliens, and I love that sort of like sneaking like alien aspect, crawling out of the ducts and like tearing someone apart.
Around the beginning I watched also there's this anime called, I don't know, it was about this dude had like an alien for a hand or something, and it was like really body horror stuff.
Is that That's
Hula
not
Coolie? No.
District 7.
No,
District 9?
District 9.
District 9 is awesome as well. Like,
Oh,
yeah, but, yeah, I don't know. It's just just throwing a bunch of stuff together and seeing what sticks and what works, and that's how the themes come out. But the Xenohunters, if you look at sort of the box art and stuff, there's actually a section at the top which has 3 fields, and it's like setting, region, and like specific universe or whatever. So Xenohunters actually fits into this larger kind of universe that I've been making games in for a while. So after, if Xenohunters goes well, we'll keep extending on that. So it's a bit like with Animal Empire, which is our first Kickstarter. We then made a game that was like set 200 years later called Animal World War. And Kickstarter. Yeah. So the other games that might come out of Xenohunters, kind of, if that goes well, is also sort of like the Galactic Union universe. Is
Orbital Empire,
Star
Blamo,
Blamo, which is like a card-based RPG, kind of blowing everything up thing.
I think we actually should just make that for the Kickstarter.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. Right, yeah. In the Kickstarter, one of the first tiers that you can get above just the base game is a choose your own adventure narrative card game called Exodus, where you there's like 100 sort of different story beats. It's like getting a choose your own adventure book and splitting it onto cards. And some of those you can like keep as items and use later, and only once, but there might be multiple chances during the story. So, the inspiration is also sort of just building on established worlds that we have. Sorry, that answers are very long. I'm finding.
No,
you're fine.
It's good for an interview. I think it's hard when somebody just gives you a one-word answer. But
can you tell me your inspirations? No. Next question.
Well, it's my TED talk.
Like
one thing.
Sorry to jump in. Some of it also comes from like you used to run a lot of RPGs.
Yeah.
So you used to run like D&D for us, and another one called More Venom, which you like made yourself.
Awesome.
And they always like everything's really story driven and theme heavy. And the More Venom universe, which when you first made it, sort of in uni, was just like a story, like a D&D story sort of thing. It was like 10 years ago. But it still exists.
Game designers. I remember in my day.
I mean, it's not 14 years writing a book. So.
Well,
yeah.
That'll be More Venom when eventually it's released.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the white whale, I think. I like Star Blamo though.
I often make games that Callan likes because he's the person who first, and then we test them, and he's like, "This is great," and I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah, I really need a Callan because Callan is like your biggest fan. I'm so touched by how much he appreciates your work, and I'm like, I need a Callan in my life.
I don't know. I think that like one of my core philosophies is that like I want creative people to succeed, and often I think that there's like barriers to success. That's not like lack of creativity or lack of skill. Like that is very rarely the barrier. The barrier is often like time or like, energy to put effort in, or like being able to make something that is existing in the world. And I don't know, I just like sort of something that I want to do with my life is find creative people and get them there. And that's something that you and I have been doing for a long time, but now we're doing it with other designers as well. Like something that we're launching this year is a program called Ink and Gumption, where it's like, you've got the ink and we've got the gumption, and let's put it together and like get your game into the world, basically.
For folks that sort of want to like kickstart or want to distribute or want to make games and stuff, and essentially just give them advice and steps and stages and how to do it. And then when you get to the stage of trying to like distribute internationally or build Kickstarters and stuff, it's just sort of part of the program, because that's where it's really expensive and complicated. Not everyone has time to do that. So we like to help out with that kind of stuff.
It's like breaking down some of those barriers and helping people get through them.
And I'm sort of we're sort of finding out why a lot of publishers haven't done this kind of thing yet, but where it's sort of more of an open door policy rather than everyone like pitching and one thing gets through out of like 1,000 or something. But it's exciting. I think it'll be great for you. Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, it's good fun.
Ramping that up by like 1,000.
Do you guys feel like, since because you started this company and you have like really good ideas, but as soon as you attach a name to it, there's almost this expectation of like continually creating content, I guess, like to keep making games. And I guess you talked about perhaps publishing on other people's behalf, but how do you guys keep coming out with games or ideas for games? Do you find like you have like these light bulb moments, or do you have like
no idea, but
stuff
Yeah, I have on the company Google Drive, we have about 4 folders with about 60.
Oh man, it's like over 120 now.
Yeah. And, so the company is sort of constructed as this like scaffold or engine through which the games go, because I can't stop. I'm like, I have a problem.
And how do you narrow it down, I guess, would be my next question.
So that's the sort of like Darwinian sort of evolution aspect of it. So for every game that we release, I've made about 10 that are just like rough little concepts and stuff, and I use PowerPoint for all my designing, so it's very fast. And we've got like a big old printer here, which we can sort of quickly show everyone. Hello, printer. Beast. I guess we can't use the cameras like bobbing around in. So yeah, like we always, because we actually Callan and I did game design degrees back and we graduated in 2011 with nothing for like 6 years after that. But they have a very in the video game world, like a fail fast and upwards kind of attitude.
Fail fast, fail often.
Yeah, so we sort of we never really operated like trying to make one perfect thing and then moving forward with that, and then, if that makes sense, like we make 10 things to see what people like, sort of. So like, do we enjoy the gameplay? Do our friends like it? Do like the playtesting groups we go to like it? When we start putting out the concept on social media, do we get like attention for it? Are people keen on the idea? From there, that's sort of how it's all narrowed down, is like when the ideas start hitting actual people, do they think it's cool? And if not, we've got like 9 others that we can try.
Yeah.
And
I think practically there's like 3 or 4 steps that you go through. And the first thing is like getting a prototype made. So like making, especially if you're doing board games, like making your game physical, but not like sheets of paper, like something that has images and a little bit of representation, and making something that's a little bit high fidelity. And then we'll like do game days, which are specifically for like one game that we know is good, but then we'll also bring everything else and be like, hey, do you want to try this out? Or like, do you want to give it a go and see what the reaction is? And then from there, we do a lot of sort of internal testing, I guess, is a weird way to just say, like, Jack comes up in the morning and says, I've made a game about goldsmiths of Liechtenstein. And
I made a song as well. That was really cool. Yeah. The initial inspiration points can be anything as well, because I was watching A Knight's Tale and I was like, oh, cool.
Great film.
So good. Yeah. So yeah, like a lot of the specific bits of inspiration are that, and then it just goes through a process of trying to be as quick as we can at first, and then if something sucks, we just go, no, that's it. But often, at least something will be cool about that.
I think the magic of it is like, over time you learn to figure out what people get really energized about. So like with Xenohunters, like early on when we were just playtesting it, we were running a game event for a completely different game, and we brought Xenohunters along, and people were playing it for like an hour or something like that, and just like getting into it, and like getting into like being an alien or like being a mercenary on the frontier. And when you have that sort of visceral reaction to the themes, you're like,
that's how I know we've got something special.
Yeah, for sure.
When people are like, this is cool. One of the next projects we're doing is after Xenohunters is called The Gatherers, Tiny Kingdoms. It's about being people about this big, which again was from looking at like Arrietty and stuff like that. We've just done like a little bit of sort of artwork and stuff to concept it, and people are sort of making fan art and stuff with that. And one lady sort of made a 3D model of like a gather, and she was like, this is what I'll use when I eventually play it. It was Amanda from South Australia on the Steampunk Festival. So another long answer, but we sort of whatever people think really, we just sort of go ahead with and use that as our litmus test.
I think making it is sort of the trigger point where we're like, all right, this is something that we got to try out, because there is a bunch of stuff that we have, like concepts that exist.
Mm.
And I think I've pushed a long time to commercialize them and have like some sort of, we just released like the vault, the HMG vault, where you can like subscribe and we'll post you a board game every day.
You made a game about dragons you can play. Dragon
But when it gets to
hunting.
this point, then it's like, okay, this is serious enough that we're taking out
It's
and
an
testing. to see how
elven
it goes.
airship.
You saw here Worldbuilders exclusive.
Yeah.
Don't give Jack any ideas. Nah, it's all good. It's fun. Like it is fun though. Like that's a big part of it too. Like you can't forget that it's fun, you know, and coming up with all these.
Callan and I
new ideas
collapse and
stuff
lose
is fun.
motivation if it's not fun. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you guys mentioned artists from South Australia. Also on your website, it says that you guys work with artists and local artists. Was that always kind of a plan to be integral with like other types of communities for you guys?
Yeah, we tend to hire people that we know or meet in person, if that makes sense, whether it's for artwork and, or for marketing.
Yeah, sometimes you put a lot of
like
calls out through Instagram and stuff like that too.
That is true, yeah. Often I'll have like an idea of what I want the game to look like in general, and then we'll find someone that can do that style of art and then start commissioning things. And again, it's like, so for Xenohunters, I had about 4 people, like I commissioned sort of 4 demo pieces of art, and 2 are from Australian people that we knew, and 2 were from overseas. One from England, one from the States. Yeah, we just kept going like that. But we do really want to support industries in Australia because we are pretty far away from the nexus of especially where tabletop gaming is all happening. So I think we did a market analysis, and it's literally like 200 times larger in the US than it is in Australia.
Yeah.
And our population isn't really that.
No,
it was something that was like disproportionate.
Australia is like 15% of the global board game market. America is like 50%.
Out of all the countries.
Out of all the countries on all in the entire world, including all of Asia and all of Europe. And
fun fact: board games worldwide in 2019 were a $13.2 billion industry in US dollars, and we were like, "Whoa, cool."
Yeah, it's been interesting.
Maybe we'll keep doing this.
Well, despite the disparity between who's playing where, I think that you're already jumping hurdles because for a game like yours to be on Tabletopia already, you don't need to be in America, right? We have all the assets there, people can play. And one of the things that I found most I would say comforting during the pandemic was, I could go on the Board Game Arena, Tabletopia, Vorpal board, play all these games with people that I've never met just at the drop of a hat. So I mean, hats off to you for already having a copy on there, because I was impressed just to see it.
I think it's been interesting that like board gaming and stuff was sort of in a way like not uniquely but like very well positioned to ride through a pandemic because there's so many ways to engage with the hobby, even if you can't do it face to face with people. Well, like now, 10 years ago it wouldn't have been the case, but you're right.
There was a few things like I remember in April 2020 was when like Tabletopia really started getting going, and we switched sort of from, we were running a bunch of like in-game events at cafes and stuff, and we would run like LARPs, and then we switched and we did
conventions or coming over to the US.
And we did like a Discord where we'd run the games on Tabletopia, and so it was like we have to get everything on Tabletopia right now. And there was a person, Cassie from Cats and Kill Solutions, who literally has built her business around like converting any sort of digital platform, and she did a lot of work for us putting all of our board games into the digital space. I think it's definitely worth checking her out if you own a board game company, or even if you like. So all of the games that we're prototyping, even as well, we were like, hey, we can try these online while we're stuck at home. And so she's fantastic.
Part of the smoothness of the Xenohunters gameplay is because it was completely developed in Tabletop Simulator and Tabletopia at first. So and doing anything in Tabletopia or that is just so much harder than just doing it physically. So then when the game made the jump from the digital to physical, and we started making physical prototypes about like 4 or 5 months ago, yeah, we found it actually translated really well, because a lot of the inefficiencies that might be permissible in the physical realm, because it's quite fast, we just couldn't keep in the digital one, because the original Xenohunters games took like 2 hours or something for like the first mission, which is like in real life is like half hour, 40 minutes. But yeah, we kept like whittling it and working on it and changing things, and the player boards came out of that, specifically like all your actions are there on your player board, so you don't have to keep looking at the rule book. So yeah, it was kind of, again, like an interesting constraint having to develop games under those conditions, but it made for better products eventually, I think. And we'll keep doing that into the future, I think. It's doing a lot of prototyping digitally and seeing, is it easy to play and still fun and worth pushing through that sort of resistance of playing board games in the digital realm to then make the jump.
Yeah, if it's easier, if it's easy to play in the digital realm, it's going to be easier to play physically.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, it'll be cool to do some like purely digital board games and have like stuff like teleporting around and like flying and like, doing stuff. That'll be pretty sick.
Like the I Walk Through the Valley, where you've got like automated stuff.
Yeah. We keep trying to, because we were from video game backgrounds, we keep trying to put in stuff that like actually would require AI and automation and stuff. Like, okay, now there's a whole ton of villages and knights and other critters moving around the map. So fun. We didn't keep going with that project.
It's a good concept.
Good concept, yeah. We might have now. Xenohunters has someone being the alien and someone being the whatever. I think we might change it so that one player is like the world and like the kingdom that you're being giant monsters.
It's Michelle's favorite game.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, my wife. It's her favorite game.
They're also eggs hatching. So.
Yeah,
I love eggs.
Big fan of eggs.
They're just so good. Any game.
You guys are a pretty small company currently, right? Or do you think that makes things easier, or do you guys plan on kind of growing? I'm just curious how that.
I think we plan on growing for sure. Like we sort of at the moment we'll like hire artists for a project, or we'll like hire like a designer. We have like a graphic designer working on the designs for Xenohunters and stuff like that, and a rulebook writer and things. But it would be nice to have some in-house people that we can, do testing with, and then also have like a base in the US, for example, and like, let's go bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get there, but definitely there's a benefit to being a small business, which is stuff like, oh, hey, we need to put everything up on Tabletopia, shut down all of our events and run a Discord and get that going. And like, we can do that, within a week. Or it's like, hey, we have this game that we really like, that we put time and effort into making, but it's not going to work out, so we can cut it and then put another one in its place very quickly.
Yeah,
so
it's easy to be agile when you're small.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, there's not as much security around it for sure.
Yeah. So we're still figuring out how to build up, because there's sort of 5 wings of the company, I guess. There's the design, the manufacturing, funding, the fulfillment and distribution, and then like the sales and things like that. So yeah, it's tricky. When there are times where we sort of have to like cut back and be a bit lean and react to cash flow and things like that, where we scale back, and then it's Callan and I sort of doing like jumping and swapping hats all the time. But definitely those 5 areas, it would be amazing to have someone heading them all up, if that makes sense. So, but I don't know if we get much bigger than that.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is that like we have our own warehouse. We have a manufacturer who we work with. We do a lot of the stuff that some of the bigger design and publishing groups do, just because like being in Australia, you sort of have to figure it all out yourself. You can't rely on, like in the US, I think there's a lot of programs and publishers that you can go through that figure that out for you. but and also just because I think that's the way we do business, is we sort of figure like, but trying to convince some of the really big companies that like, no, we have the capacity to operate, like, you know, we're not just like two dudes in a shed. Even we are physically two dudes in a shed. It's trying to convince people that the company is a bit bigger than that. Is a different process.
You know, like we're just at the front of the train, but the engine's still chugging along, and just trying to manage.
Like building a plant.
Building a plant. It's like sailing a ship.
It's like riding a train.
It's like bobsledding down Mount
making
Kilimanjaro.
a rocket. Yeah.
It's all the business. It's weird.
Like talking in metaphors.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I wanted to ask one thing about playtesting the game, because one of the things that stood out to me and that we said at the top of this is it's double hidden movement, right? At any time, people may not be able to see where people are. As game creators, how do you watch a playtest and not know where anybody is on the board and take notes from that? Like you can't see the actual pieces. How do you actually playtest for that?
Well, we sort of, because in real life, on tabletop for ease, the boards are flat in front of you, but in real life, it's a player stand with like info on the front. So you're like this, like sort of like Battleship, and then you can see all the things. So during playtests, we just walk around and look at what people are doing. I don't
just
know
get people's business,
particularly, but people don't stay hidden very long in our experience.
That's just you, Jack.
It is just me.
You like playing loud.
Yeah,
I was hidden the whole time. I'm always a rogue. I always lurk.
I can't do it. I'm just like, I got the problem, quick.
So that's why cards say loud and like that. Okay, that makes total sense.
Yeah. Did you? Yeah, that's like, how did you stay hidden the whole time? I don't understand.
Sneak almost everywhere. Stay away from the alien. And I was conveniently always around my rummage stations. So it was really like Jamie, Zoe, and Zay were distractions, and then I just got in and bombed the reactor. And I did not save everybody.
I mean, I was also hidden the whole time, but I find that for some reason the executive director decides to target me.
Yeah. What character were you playing? What character were you?
I was the medic.
Yeah, I think the medic tends to get targeted because they don't have a lot of health. So,
and also like picked on, target the healer first is.
Yeah, always kill the healer. That's Team Fortress 2 stuff.
Yeah, well, I had a flamethrower, so everything was fine.
Oh yeah, your defensive flamethrower.
Your defensive flamethrower.
We love having short stories written in universes and stuff, like when they're successful. So we might do a little story about Zay, the Xenohunter, and her defensive flamethrower.
Zay, the Xenohunter, has a decent ring to it. Not gonna lie.
It goes back to that Xena warrior princess thing we were talking about.
We also we deliberately try and play a lot of different play styles, if that makes sense. Yeah. So we'll do one play test where we really try and be
aggressive or sneaky. I have a trouble with it because I like have a go-to move, which is like sacrifice one person to succeed.
I'm like, no.
Oh, you play like me.
Yeah. So I always end up, I'm like, oh no, I failed over here.
I'm like, this is not explosive gridiron where you just get the bomb and you're like, so that actually inspired us because there's 4 boards in the game and each is like a different mission. I don't know if you guys saw the other ones off to the side on Tabletopia. But it's like a story you can go through. And we put in a like XCOM style. Also, I was playing so much XCOM when I made.
Oh, you're speaking my language now. Yeah, XCOM. Let's do this.
So what was I saying?
The Iron Man mode.
Yeah. So we've got like an Iron Man mode in the game. That might be I don't know if that's copyrighted, but anyway, we'll change it. So where if your characters die in a previous mission or get hurt, that carries on to the next mission, and also the items that you collect and stuff carry on to the next mission, and you get more.
Like Legacy.
Yeah, a little like sort of like Legacy Light, if that makes sense. But yeah, I sort of put that in because I was like, Callan, you gotta stop killing all your little dudes.
Well, because you made like the first success. Just to win, all you have to do is blow up the reactor. You don't have to live afterwards.
Yeah, but it's the worst success.
Yeah, but you win.
Yeah, that was how I felt. If I could blow up the reactor, everyone might die, but I'd still get that W.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's right.
I'm still on the podium. That's
Yeah. It's been really fun actually exploring those alternate kind of game systems and mechanics because we have like 4 different maps and boards and stuff. So we've given the alien like more eggs each round. So during the last mission, you start with 4 eggs just at the start. So if you want to, you can either spawn an army of like 12 hatchling, 12. What are they called?
Hybrids?
Hybrid spawn. Yeah. 12 hybrids at the start and just have them swarm the map, which is awesome. Or you can just be like a super aggressive alien and you're like, I don't care if I die because I've got 4 more lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been fun. And one of the game modes is you just try and do like a pure Xenohunt run, where you're just trying to take out the eggs and the alien each mission. Which we found is actually really challenging, which is good because we wanted it to be. But yeah, to get like a gold Xenohunt run, where you get like everyone survives each mission and you kill the alien each time, I think it'll be really interesting to see like who does that first, and you know, if they post about it, we would love to hear about that and like how it went and what the moments were, you know, of being like 1 point away from death and then
hunting the air, like because you have to lure it out as well. You know, because it starts off being
yeah. Did you guys end up like flamethrowing or grenading the ducks? Where
no.
Yeah.
I was very ready.
Oh yeah.
No, but I think
everything in there.
Yeah.
I've started a couple of rounds by just like sprinting out as wolves.
The more you guys keep talking,
and is like, no, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's technically legal.
Advanced tactics. That's what that is.
I just keep thinking of all of the different types of game plays we have to go through now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd play this again for sure.
Oh,
I'll say that right now.
It'd be sick. I'm not very good, but I'm enthusiastic.
That's the
There's always a
spirit.
trigger point I find where like the humans suddenly realize that oh wait, we just have to get the bomb to the reactor, and like suddenly the game shifts, especially when new people are playing. Like it starts off going, oh my god, we're being killed by the alien, and then it's like oh wait, and they become hyper focused on the goal.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And then the
alien got a
alien,
secret now.
yeah, and then the alien's like, where are you guys? What's going on? I'm gonna get you. Yeah. It's good fun.
Yeah. Did any when during your playthrough we didn't see all the way to the end because we started this call. Did anyone die as a human and become like join the alien team as a bunch of hybrid spawn?
I don't think anyone joined.
I didn't actually know that was a possibility. So yeah, I have about 5 different game playthroughs that we need to do it on Worldbuilders.
I'm glad there's like replayability there for you. So the game is on the box. It's 2 to 5 players, but you could technically like have up to 9 if you could have 4 more players just playing a bunch of hybrid spawn each, and then you know you can deck everyone out with weapons and equipment and stuff. And we haven't done that yet, but we really want to.
I think Tabletopia labels your guys' game as a 1 to 8 player on the.
Yeah, I think sometimes Tabletopia like there's a lot of fiddly settings, especially when you make new like playrooms. I think so. I'll go in and change that. But yeah, it's 2 to 5 generally. We wanted to have a single player mode like with Autonoma, sort of like Stigma Games has. But it's still a little bit out of our like wheelhouse. So we haven't met the right person that could make it really well and integrate it into our development cycle so it starts soon enough. But
I think it has to be good. Like we would just tack it on, you know.
Yeah, that solo market is becoming a bigger piece of the pie now too. All during the pandemic, I was like, which ones of my games can be played solo, because then I can lose by myself instead of in front of friends, and it was a whole new experience. I would love to see that, because you start getting in on that. We talked about Alien a lot, and I kind of viewed myself as Ellen Ripley the entire time. I like if you can make people more feel like that and
Yeah.
isolate themselves. Oof, would be.
Oh yeah, is that yeah? Have you played the Alien Isolation game?
Isolation, yeah.
It's right up there. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, where you're like the computer game and you're Ripley's daughter, I think.
Yeah.
yeah.
Helen.
Something like that. Yeah, the engineer gameplay is like so based on that because you're just running around like putting door seals on things and like using stuff, and it's really loud, and you have an affinity for picking up, explosives and things like that. Then you have to sneak, and yeah, I love that game so much.
I was the engineer, and all I did was pick up. I rummaged for a detonator and a bomb, and then I sealed myself in the reactor room, like Bruce Willis at the end of Armageddon. And I'm like, "This is it."
Oh, yeah.
That's the cinematic moment I wanted.
Our chat also knew it was happening. Yeah. They called it early on. Yeah.
I'm glad. Yeah, one of the things I wanted to focus on was sort of having like a 3-act kind of progression to each gameplay, if that makes sense. Like you start out like being really sneaky and like investigating and stuff, and then there's that sort of like, oh, okay, like we can accomplish the mission now, like let's figure out how to bring the team together. And then having like an explosive ending where everyone's sprinting to the ship, and it's all blowing up around you and stuff. So yeah, I'm glad you said cinematic moments, because that's what I was really trying to go for as well.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell. Like I felt like I was in Dead Space or Alien or like Nemesis almost too as well. But it lends itself to that.
Or Doom if you're lame like me.
Doom is not lame. Doom is good.
I like it.
I actually watched a movie with
The Rock.
The Rock.
That is such a good bad movie. I adore that movie.
It's awesome. Go to Mars.
Yeah, the BFG.
Yeah, like what other movie do you get to see Carl Urban, Éomer from Lord of the Rings, take on Dwayne The Rock Johnson in space? No other movie.
So,
give it the Oscar.
It sounds like a Mad Lib.
Some would argue it's yeah,
watch it tonight.
Yeah, it's a great bad movie. Absolutely. We're very much fans of great bad movies.
How long does, apologies if you guys said this, but let's take like Xenohunters, from like start to finish, how long does it take to develop something like that?
A long time.
Yeah, so all the games that we do, we actually have a very structured process that we go through. So it's based on quarters of the year, and each game minimum will have a year of solid sort of going through that process. And then often a lot of the games have been in prototype form, or at least like written down the mechanics and how it would work if we started developing it and getting for 6 to sometimes with Animal Empire it was like 3 years before that. So it just depends. We can make games really quickly because of the process, but yeah, so generally it's it'll be like 3 months of like design, 3 months of manufacturing, 3 months of running, and 3 months of like finalizing and distributing.
3 months of beta testing. After the design.
Yeah, that's right. And so so
I think Xenohunters was in the hyperbolic time chamber for like 2 years, sort of thing. So it was sort of cooking for a while before.
Yeah, but that's sort of like that is like the full process though of like designing it, testing it, getting manufacturing quotes, sampling, advanced prototyping, and so on.
Yeah,
stuff like
printing.
That. Yeah, actually, I work at the Queensland University of Technology. I was drifting out of frame. Yeah, I work. Callan and I both work at QT as well, a couple days a week. And I'm doing a master's of how to make science-based tabletop games that are educational but also fun. I made this like 30 video series breaking down the whole process of ideation to distribution. So it's called The Bridge, Guide to Science Game Design. If anyone wants to take a look, it's on YouTube on my personal channel, which is very nerdy. But we'll
Put it in
eventually
the chat. I want to see this.
Sure. We'll eventually sort of, because it's a masters, like once it's sort of all done, I'll be able to like port it over to Half Monster, and it'll form like a key part of Ink and Gumption and stuff. But yeah, so minimum a year, maximum, endless, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, we put a very large emphasis on trying to make sure that our like process was solid, because we're running a business, and doing stuff like seeking investment and doing that kind of thing. We had been doing reports, like we had to have a very solid plan, I guess.
Yeah, like a pipeline. Basically.
Yeah, a pipeline. Yeah. So and we have an overlapping pipeline. So at any one time, we have focused development on 4 games. So the other ones for this year are Gatherers, which is sort of entering alpha testing, because we're in the pre-funding beta, like advanced beta phase now for Xenohunters, if that makes sense. The one after that is going to be a re-release of Animal World War, and one at the end of the year, which I'm very excited about, is a Viking-themed game called Valhalla Calls, where you essentially just raid the English, and you get Vikings with shields, and you put them on the side of your boat, and it's very cute.
It's
and then you
almost
flip
like
it over, and it's a village.
It's almost like an RPG crossed with a war game. Like
Yeah.
You get these little shields that are your Viking characters, and then they have stats that they get better at depending on how much they raid the British. And then so
Kill the British.
So they level up or get abilities and skills like an RPG. But then you have the dudes set out like a war game.
Yeah. That one has been in the pipeline for it's been a while.
You built an entire like club of sea shanty
Viking
callers that
pre-COVID.
It had an offshoot. But yeah, no. Like there's lots of I think most games have to have like sort of almost 6 months of development, at the very least, which I think traditionally is considered not a huge amount of time.
I think so. Yeah.
But I think even if we were to say like a game had only 6 months of development, that wouldn't be entirely true. Like it's been sitting around for 6 months. And it's been worked on like another 6 months on top of that.
At least mentally,
yeah.
How long did your games take, Aaron, to sort of go through the process?
One, we pretty much got the for Earworm, we had like the core concept in like the first 2 or 3 weeks, but then we play tested it for like 9 months. And the one I'm working on now, I've literally been working on off and on for like 4 years. So it would be gross if I thought about the amount of time I've spent staring at those spreadsheets and docs. I would feel very sad.
I'm close to getting like RSI from like scrolling up and down the different kind of card pages and stuff. RSI?
There's a question in the chat. There's a question in the chat that says, how much of the game development effort is weeding out exploits and killer strategies?
We have some advice. Lean into them and make them speak. Because Callan and I played so much Overwatch back in the day and really looked at the design methodology of that. And one of the lead designers was like, hey, like all the characters seem overpowered, but they're all overpowered. So that's what makes it work.
What's that guy from The Incredibles?
Mr. Incredible?
No, the bad guy.
Oh, guy.
Syndrome. If everyone's super, nobody is. It's like, I think there's two main things. So the first one is that you're always going to have someone who can like come up with a killer strategy, and there's a bit of that is like satisfying for them.
Oh yeah.
And we've generally found that people who game hard don't play a lot with people who game soft, if that makes sense. There's not a huge amount of cross-pollination there. We want to try to engender some of that with like Xenohunters is kind of like a light tactical game, but we also like, someone was like, oh, can I just throw a grenade in and destroy everybody, and I have this really cool way of doing it. Like if they come up with a really cool strategy, it's like, yeah man, like cool, well done. Like, it's like in Overwatch, it's like a 45 minutes out of your day, and you can play another round and have that fun experience.
I think also we really try and put in Daniel, like counters as well. So if we identify that something is like maybe a little bit overpowered, we'll try and like meet that with something that can, counter it. So with the grenades, kind of in Xenohunters being very powerful, because you can just throw them into a room and blow everything up. We gave the Xeno like more eggs and emphasized that you should put them in different places. So you can't just like annihilate someone immediately. And there was one where it was, like if you're one player down, like the alien just kills one of you and like aggressively, like they did to you, Zay, where they just take you out. On some of the missions, that's a really significant handicap. So instead of like reducing the chance of that happening, we put in like the solution to that problem, which is the Lazarus gun vial, where you can take that to an egg and like hatch that player again, which is kind of gross.
You inject
like,
the egg with their DNA and then hatch them again.
And that's
Just like real life.
Yeah, that's how it works. It's like, welcome back, all your memories and all your personalities back, even though you were 3 people just like a second ago.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think that
Yeah.
it's critical to test with people who play hard. It is absolutely critical to like and we invite them over to the shed and we say, hey, can we play like 3 or 4 games with you and just fucking destroy us? Sorry. And just destroy us.
It's after dark. We're fine.
We're all drinking.
It's Australia.
Alcoholic hot chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, like that's kind of
there it is. Yeah.
I mean that's Australian. I think is too much. Sorry.
Yeah, my wife swears so much.
Yeah.
And she works at a school, so she comes home and she'll just be like, she's actually really lovely, but
yeah.
I mean, this
random story. Sorry.
Wait, what are you saying? Your wife comes home from school and drinks? Was that what just happened?
Oh, come and swears. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying it just breaks out the chalk off the.
She's not angry. She's just like, where's the fucking milk? I'm like, whoa, can you not? She's like, sorry,
I mean,
not swear all day in front of the.
It's an important part of the day.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Instead of a punching bag or something, we've got swear owl. Yeah, because do you guys swear like heaps in America? Because it's pretty.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I want to see is a game that just goes like all out on the swearing in the sort of rule book and stuff. So it's like, you want to fuck them up, use this thing and stuff like that.
Like explain swear almost. Yeah.
Write a rule book where it's just really inserted unnecessarily. Like your fucking player.
Yeah. Table of fucking contents.
And then instead
How
of
to play the goddamn game.
instead of saying rules, it just says read the fucking manual.
You know what's interesting is we sent a copy of Trust Me I'm a Superhero to the US to do some sensitivity testing. And one of the cards was like booty, which is like part of your superpower. You can be like like frost booty or like
Laser booty,
giant booty or something.
mega booty.
And the art originally didn't have underpants because it was just from the side, it was like little booty. And we had to put underwear on because it was like the comment was kind of like it might not test very well. Which I just thought was really interesting. But yeah, in Australia we're like, get the ass out there.
I mean, it's interesting also because there is sort of in a lot of Australian designers, there's like a race to be the most like vulgar.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of drinking games and a lot of like and
maybe it's like because I think that's everywhere. Maybe that's just like gaming is like tabletop gaming is splitting like postcards against humanity. Like where it's sort of like business as usual. And then there's like shop games now. Maybe they always existed, but I don't know if in the days of like Monopoly and Scrabble and stuff they had anything quite intense.
I mean, I would say that with a lot of games in the US that you get like that shock value, like that's the point of the game. You mentioned cards and like there aren't a lot of other games where the point is to be a piece of shit. But now I think a lot of them are coming out where it's like those tipsy games with your friends that are like an elaborate drinking game.
The icebreaker games.
Right.
Yeah.
To be fair, we were like, the age is 8 and up, so maybe not
That's true.
even cut.
Sorry. I read the box and it said ages. Fucking ages 8 and up. It's just like, whoa. Why are they just putting the swears in there?
Grow up, asshole.
It's for fucking adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the comments, Emily Jam just said the loveliest ladies are the most talented swearers in my experience, and
It's true.
Yeah,
It's
so
true.
true.
Yeah. You need a couple. You need a couple sailor ladies in your life.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. We're getting to the end of the time here, guys. We do something with all of our guests that I personally like, and it's just where we ask y'all some questions. We call it a lightning round, and it's just a little bit of get to know you kind of things. I'll only choose like 2 of them here, and yeah. So one of them is we normally for authors ask about books, but for y'all we'll ask about games. What are some games, you can include some of your own or some other ones that you would recommend to our audience to play? What are some of your favorites?
We would recommend being plague doctors in the 1800s in Trust Me, I'm a Doctor. Look sick, sir. Look at this face. Just hideous, disgusting. Let's chop it up. That's one we'd recommend. Also, Blood Rage is really fun. Yeah, I don't know. We spend so much time making games. We don't get to play
We
a lot
don't
of
play a
new
lot.
games.
I played
which is
Coup.
like-
I played Coup recently and had a lot of fun.
It's awesome.
Yep.
We do a lot of helping people, or not helping people out. Sorry. Supporting other indie creators on Kickstarter and stuff like that. So one game that's really good is called Try to Win, which is a triathlon themed game.
Whoa.
Right, that one is really cool. It's like small. It's made in England by a super nice lady, and yeah, like I would recommend looking up that kind of thing because we love that kind of stuff when you have sort of random little ideas that come out and turn out to be really cool and really fun. Yeah, that would be my recommendation. Do you have a recommendation?
All right, question. Oh, is that, Callan, you kind of mentioned
No,
one. Do you have any others?
I don't have a
Our
whole lot of
10-minute
good
answer
recommendations.
is lightning round.
Yeah,
It's
no, I
complete.
think I think Oompa is a game that we recently started looking at, which is like a musical theory
music
game,
theory.
and it teaches you scales and chords and
Yeah.
stuff like that, which I think is super
I was
cool.
like, what's music? And then I
Yeah.
played it and I was like, oh,
I like playing it because I know
That's good.
music and I can
I do.
teach my friends.
yeah.
Anyway.
Oh,
yeah.
do you?
Cool.
Okay, question 2 of 3. What is your guys' drink of choice? It can be alcoholic or non-alcoholic.
Mine is leeches. The answer every time. It'll never get old. I prefer whiskey, specifically Glenfiddich, as old as I can get it.
If you make
Callan's
it awkward,
point.
it's not awkward.
Yeah, I like whiskey. I'm getting into bourbons and stuff as well. But, and mockers. I've had about 3 each this morning.
I recently stopped drinking, so I have recommend flat white coffee, which is good. Or
What about a latte?
a latte.
What about
Do you
a
guys have flat whites in the US?
We do have a flat white. Yeah.
Milky cappuccino, just coffee.
Yeah, I mean a flat white
Every day.
it is actually just a latte with no foam.
I
So-
recommend a 2:30, 3 o'clock coffee. Is a great way to get over that afternoon hump.
The time is very important
Mm.
in Australia. We want it brewed in a specific minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A question. If you guys could sit down and have a conversation with anyone, real or imagined, dead or alive, who would it be?
Jesus Christ. No.
What a question!
Yeah, for sure.
Actually look like.
Actually, probably not. Probably more Peter, but I think no, you go ahead because I'm gonna have a think about this.
Okay. I'm not a religious person. I would probably sit down with Abraham Lincoln because he's super cool. Or Teddy Roosevelt looks just like so much fun. Or who was the Prime Minister of England during World War II?
Winston Churchill.
He just sounds ridiculous. I don't know, yeah.
So you're just like presidents and prime ministers are the people on your list.
And they'd be like, I run a nation and protect the people. What do you do? I'm like, did I hear about aliens or ghosts in Lincoln? I wrote a song. Ghosts in Lincoln.
He's probably heard about vampire slaying at least. So
I would want to talk to Bill Gates or Mark Cuban.
Oh yeah.
Because I think that anyone that successful has to have like great ideas about how to be successful, and I would just want to pick their brains, and then also just pitch them my company.
Yeah.
Well,
I was going to say, let's put you on Shark Tank. Sure.
Well, I got the chance.
Probably, yeah.
That's a good question. I like. There's lots of good options. Living or dead, right? I say living or dead.
Or dead.
Or Greta Thunberg,
Pretty
but
close.
when
Pretty
she's like
circle to
40
chat to.
years old. So,
Oh, yeah.
like old and jaded Greta Thunberg is the person I want to talk to.
Oh yeah.
I think she's
Bader
already
Ginsburg.
jaded.
Someone who's like
Damn.
actually fighting for something good in a system that is designed to make it hard for them.
Yeah.
Obama.
Yeah.
Lots of good people. Sun Tzu. Dalai Lama.
This will be
why not?
controversial. It would be interesting to talk to like Vladimir Putin in person. What's the
I like how you whispered his name. You're like, let's say fuck 800 times,
You
but
gotta show up. Well, if you say his name,
He's like, he's number one watching the stream.
Gandalf. I like that. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think.
If we're going fictional, man, there's a million. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
all right, guys. I will, I guess, wrap us up here. This has been super fun. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Aaron, for coming on too. Yeah. All right. We got a boop word for the chat. So for all of you in the chat, if you repeat the word that I say, then we know that our stream is ended on your end. And today the word will be Viva Games.
Viva Games! Yay!
Viva
Thank you so much
Games!
for having us, guys. We really appreciate
Eric,
it. We're just so keen to play with you as well because your banter seems like super fun.
All right, thanks guys. See you next time.